Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will be starting in a few minutes. We're just going to let more people join in.
Just to tell you a little about myself, I got my PhD in psychology at Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. I specialize in cognitive behavior therapy, and I've been practicing for 31 years.
Okay. Did we all just lose noise?
We will be beginning the class shortly. Gianna, Wildling co-founder, will be joining in a few minutes. She's just wrapping up a few things to get the workshop going. And yeah, just hold on a few minutes.
Hi, honey. Hold on, my earpods aren't on. Hi. Oh, I don't remember why. Oh, I guess I don't remember why. Probably dinner, but I don't remember what I said called. Hey, don't look on the tail. Let's see.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Aura Ritual class. Let's see. I'm going to pin myself here. Also just clean my camera. All right, so I think Sherelle already started recording, so thank you for that, Sherelle. We are here today to talk about how to get results with your aura collection. I'm going to walk you through your aura collection, and then we're going to go over specific techniques that you can use in order to get the best possible results with your tool. I'll start by saying that this is always a funny class for me to teach because I get to put on my underwear and show up on Zoom, which wasn't anything that I ever considered previously when I was designing the aura collection. So joke's on me. I'm an acupuncturist by trade. I've been an acupuncturist for over 15 years. Gua sha was one of my very first loves because as a student back in 2005 in the treatment rooms, it was one of the very first things that we were able to do on patients and really deliver incredible results right away. Obviously, my love of facial gua sha emerged as I was seeing so many young people in LA, especially opting for injectables and more harsh beauty treatments that can really be achieved with facial gua sha. But then gua sha on the body also has all of these benefits. initially, my education around gua sha had to do with the healing modalities associated with it. So you can really benefit the lungs. You can clear flu, cough, colds. You know, gua sha can be used for all of these incredible health benefits. But then the side effect is additionally that your skin looks better. So when you use this, so a little less the body than we are with the face. The technique on the face is so, so gentle. The technique on the body is really kind of like you can use as much pressure as feels good for you. Just knowing that gua sha, the translation for gua sha is scraping sand. Sand refers to the little purple marks that can come up on the skin, similar to cupping. So just know that a part of gua sha, part of the lexicon of gua sha has to do with these marks that it can create. And you can also avoid creating marks on the skin by using less pressure. So the reason that it was important to me to create a body collection with our brand was because I really came to healing through yoga and through have had like a very old practice of doing yoga, teaching yoga, really wanting to create harmony like in the body, with the body, that being like really core to you know, for all of us and for me on my wellness and healing journey. So our aura collection includes 4 parts, all of which I'll be going over today. And I should also say, and I'll have Sherelle put it in the chat too, that we're doing 15% off all of our aura stuff with the exclusion of the aura sweeper because it's so expensive to make. 15% off using the code SPRINGBODY. So I'll put that in the chat right now.
I put it in the chat.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sherelle. So you can ask questions in the chat. Sherelle will answer. And if she can't answer something, like I'll occasionally be checking the chat to make sure that we're all aligned. Okay, so here we go. One of the very first, you know, the benefits of this are cosmetic, but they're also just so much beyond that. So again, like when we talk about how gua sha can minimize, reduce the appearance of cellulite, like yes, we all, you know, want our cellulite to look less prominent, but also there's all these other benefits of just like feeling good in your muscles and your body. So anything that we talk about as being cosmetic, there's just as much benefit, if not more, on the other side of things for like relieving tension, relieving pain, workout recovery, puffiness in the skin. So our aura ritual starts with dry brushing, and our aura sweeper is made from, it's such a beautiful dry brush. It's made from olive wood. It's made by hand, and the fibers are made of Tampico fibers, which come from the agave plant. And one of the things you should know about this, if you haven't used it already before, is that it, you know, it can feel kind of stiff in the beginning, but it really breaks in over time. And you can massage it and break it in bristles. You can moisten the bristles and break them in. You know, it's not going to get moldy if it gets wet. You can always leave it down to dry. So if you use it, my husband actually keeps his in the shower and likes to use it in the shower, which is not the recommended dry brushing technique. But I have been very much watching that dry brush sitting in the shower for over a year now, and it's still in great condition. And mind you, he likes to use it wet, and the bristles are very soft as a result of having lived in that environment. Not my thing, nor do I recommend that. We're going to do very traditional dry brushing. But one thing that dry brushing is good for is exfoliation of the skin, which helps cellular turnover. This helps to smooth the skin and to keep it buttery soft. And also it's good for lymphatic drainage. So lymphatic drainage is important for puffiness and water retention. And the lymphatic system carries waste materials away from the cells to be excreted through the body. So this is really great. This is why we get that sculpted effect from facial gua sha, is because facial gua sha helps to move excess lymphatic fluid out of the face. And dry brushing does that for the body too. So it's a great way to feel invigorated. It's a great way to feel alive and activated. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of the technique for dry brushing. So You can use as much pressure as feels good for you. And again, as you break in your dry brush, it'll feel great over time. So I always start, I typically start from like my feet up, but I'm just gonna start with my arms because it's so much easier on camera here. So I always brush over the hands. And I'm not, I'm not killing myself here. I'm using gentle pressure going towards the heart, all around the forearm. And I'm doing this in real time. So this is about how I would do this. I recommend doing this before the shower, but some people actually like to do it after the shower. So I leave that up to you. And again, my skin is dry, my skin is oil-free, and I'm just working all around the arm. And then when I come to the chest, like again, like sometimes this dry brush can feel kind of like harsh on sensitive skin. So you might not want to use it on my neck. On your neck, I don't really like to use it on the neck, but I love to work around the breast because the breast, like there's so many lymph nodes that gather around the armpit. And it's just a really good practice to help sweep and keep any motion happening around the breasts. When you come to the abdomen, I like to work in a clockwise motion. So this helps to stimulate digestive flow. I see a question about the risk of a dry brush collecting dead skin cells and oils. And for you, if you're concerned about that, or if you like just worked out or exercise, you can do it after the shower. And you can also rinse out this dry brush, set it bristle side down. And I haven't had any problems with them getting like too funky. I'm going to work up all over the back. And then moving on to the legs. So it's cold here in LA, not really, but I still am wearing socks. That being said, I always dry brush over the feet. So I'm going to go over the feet and all the way up the leg. And this is again, like right about in real time that we're going here. So just working over the entire legs with your dry brush. And one thing that you'll notice after you do this is your entire body will feel kind of tingly. So that's always like a nice thing. It's very activating. And so you're always moving towards the heart generally. Take that with a grain of salt because some people will get very technical. It's like when you're doing dry brushing on your body, there's a certain level of like needing to work with the ergonomics of your body. So it's like technically towards the heart, sure. You're also going technically towards the zones where there's lymph nodes, right? Because that's how you're encouraging lymphatic flow. This call is being recorded, so if you need to dip out and come back, we're going to post it in our YouTube channel. So know that like the lymphatic system from the face drains here around the lymph nodes at the neck. The lymphatic system of the upper body kind of goes towards the armpits, and then the lymphatic system of the lower body goes towards these inguinal lymph nodes that are kind of like in your groin. So these are like the trash dumps where the lymphatic system drains. So you can think about like, you're not just going towards the heart, you're going towards these lymphatic centers, and the lymphatic system does not pump itself. So it relies on our movement. It relies on things like dry brushing in order to really be effective. So another way you can really get lymphatic flow going is by like actually just bouncing. So you can bounce in your body and get the lymphatic system going. This is why rebounding, being on a trampoline has become very good for the lymphatic system. People have become more aware of like doing this for the lymphatic system. Dancing, walking, running, exercise in general, all are going to be great for the lymphatic system. Is really good for depuffing the skin. So the dry brush goes an extra layer of like manually helping that flow. So we love this as step one, because again, exfoliation is going to help the skin texture, and the dry brushing itself is going to help the lymphatic drainage. So if you have any questions about dry brushing, you can ask them in the chat now, especially if they're more technical. I see, how often do you recommend dry brushing? My skin's able to tolerate it daily, but I would say for best results, like 2 or 3 times a week is great. Let's see. I don't see any other questions about dressing. You can dry brush over the armpits themselves. Just go straight into the armpits. Just like that. I see a great question that someone's asking about pressing gently on your lymph centers before dry brushing. And this is actually a really great practice. So the amount of pressure required to move the lymphatic system is like the amount of pressure that's required to move your skin. So it's manual lymphatic drainage is some of the most gentle body work you can ever get. So you can kind of go into these lymph nodes of the neck. Open up through there. You can go into the lymph nodes in the armpit. You can massage these areas. All of this is good. It's like you're warming up the lymphatic system to kind of activate it and encourage it to be working. So this gentle like pumping, rubbing technique, deep tissue massage isn't going to do it. And then also like through the groin, same thing. These are where all of the lymph nodes reside. So good point. There's also points that are behind the knees. You can activate through behind the knees, especially if you're having like excess puffiness in the legs. So once you have dry brushed, again, like I'm not precious about before or after the shower. I kind of defer to you. Different people say different things for different reasons. Again, I had a friend just say like, why would you ever do it after the shower? Because all those dead skin cells. And I'm like, how many dead skin cells do I really have if I'm like an exfoliation addict? Which I am. I love to exfoliate my skin. So probably not a ton for me. But yeah, that is one thing too. One argument for dry brushing after is that the heat of your shower or your bath is going to stimulate your lymphatic system. So then activating after the bath would be beneficial. Again, I leave it up to you. I think there's a lot of right ways to do things. So then we have these 2 steps to prepare the skin in our Aura collection, and they're just such incredible steps. So one principle that I think all of us can benefit from knowing is that it's best to apply oil to damp skin. So not only just getting out of the bath and applying oil, but also using this mineralized seaweed mist is incredible because it's actually really beneficial for stimulating the lymphatic system and actively working on the fat cells in the body. And then I'm going to go in right away with the rose pepper toning oil. So these products together are a little bit like the natural bum bum cream. Like they're really good at kind of targeting fat in particular, and also stimulating qi and blood and the lymphatic system. So these are all going to work synergistically with your Aura Stone to help you get the best results. But the concept is that oil is going to absorb much better into your skin when it's damp. This goes for your skin of your face and your body. So make sure that you get these 2 products on just back to back for the best results. And can tell it's like, I mean, I can tell, you probably can't see on Zoom. My skin gets so glowy as a result of using these products. So this feels really great. Let's just say that I want to focus on toning my arms for this session. This is one thing that I don't think we communicate well enough on social because we have to be so brief. But one important thing to know is you don't have to do gua sha on the whole body every time. You can kind of pick an area and work on it 1 or 2 days a week. And then it doesn't feel like this huge body routine that you have to do. So let's say today, in the interest of using this camera, I really want to tone my arms. So I want to make sure there's enough oil and slip with my rose pepper toning oil, my gua sha. And then we have our Aura Stone. What makes this stone so special is its ability to grab onto the fascia with this wavy edge. So it grabs onto the skin and the fascia in an irregular pattern with the intention of breaking up some of the adhesions in the fascia. And that is what's going to help to smooth cellulite. So using a rounded end like this isn't going to deliver as good of results for the skin smoothing benefits as using this wavy edge. This is definitely my favorite edge. I also like this little contoured U edge because it really hugs like the arm, the lower leg, stuff like that. But remember, this class is really about toning and minimizing cellulite and also lymphatic drainage. So first things first, how would we do lymphatic drainage with the Aura Stone? Again, that pressure is so gentle. So it's almost like I'm holding the tool flat, going nice and slow. Remember, that pressure is just enough to move the skin. So if I want to depuff and really stimulate lymphatic drainage after doing dry brushing, I would just gently, slowly massage towards these lymph node points. Just show you how I would kind of do that for the whole arm. Again, notice the tool's not upright, it's really flat. Pressure is gentle. I'm going really slow right towards the armpit. Why would lymphatic drainage be really beneficial on the limbs? Like, okay, so I'm like an acupuncturist, so I immediately think like in terms of injury. Let's say sprain my wrist or something, have a lot of swelling around my wrist, or something like that, or I'm just feeling puffy, I'm retaining water, it's really humid out. These are the kinds of things that I would think like, oh, I need some lymphatic drainage. So if I have like puffiness, my body's trying to metabolize extra fluid from an injury or something like that, that's a great time to do the lymphatic drainage techniques. So, and then as far as like toning, sculpting the arms, like working on this area underneath the arms, if there's like some cellulite on the arms, I'm going to go in with a lot of pressure and use this wavy edge. So this is typically like the area that I like to work on. And I'm using firm pressure, as much pressure as feels good for me. And I just broke my phone, hold on. Classic. It's actually the first Aura Stone I've ever broken, so not the best timing, but luckily, there's another one right here. This is why I always do most of my wash on the couch. So going in with stone number 2 here. So just using firm pressure, I would say like over 20 passes for best results. You can notice that I'm starting to get a little pink or red. And if it's painful, that's okay, but we're not trying to obviously overdo it. So doing more is not necessarily better. So that's like a nice healthy color. I might, you know, have bruises there tomorrow as a result of having broken up fascia in the area. All of that's normal, and I can avoid that by just doing less. Another area on my arm where I know that the fascia is stuck is usually right at the bottom of the deltoid here. And it's getting better because I've been working on it, but you can tell that the fascia is not stuck when you can easily pinch the skin away from the muscle layer. However, when I get to this area of my arm, it becomes harder to actually pull the skin away from the muscle. And that's an indication that the fascia or the connective tissue is actually kind of bound or stuck right there. So I'm going to go in with the wavy edge again. I always get some like fun coloration here. And again, the process of this is somewhat uncomfortable when I'm working over an area that's really stuck, but then the payoff benefits are huge because as soon as I stop, like I feel so much flow in through the area. I can tell that it's an area that's been stuck. And again, there's no need to overdo it. I think that's very, like, it's a very American tendency for us to feel like we should overdo it or more is more and less is a bore. But you really don't have to. You can really kind of just work as much as it feels good. And then again, you can see right over the area where it feels pretty stuck to me, like that's where it's at the moment. The way that gua sha works, I think about it working like if you were to scrape the bottom of a lake, it would bring all of this sediment up to the surface. And that sediment would then clear and kind of like create more filtration over time. That's kind of what you're doing. You're stirring all of the stuck material up to the surface. That's like what this redness is, this blood flow, so that your body can clear it, bring blood flow to it, nourish it. And so that feels pretty good on this arm. So that's how you'd work on the arm. Of course, I'm gonna do like a more real time on the other arm so that you can just kind of see what it would look like in real time. I'm not going to do the lymphatic drainage on this side because we really went into that on the other side. But again, I'm going to do around 20 or 30 passes here. And I'm seeing people ask, do you always go in the direction of the heart? Yes, and if you're working on an area that is like a little bit more challenging ergonomically to go in the direction of the heart, it's okay for you to do what works for you. And I am keeping my muscles as relaxed as possible. I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to flex while I'm doing this. And then going again into this area that is also more stuck on this side. By the way, this arm feels great. It's so warm, and when I compare the two, I just feel like a new person on the left side there. And at the same time, yeah, it's a little tender. Gua sha can be a little tender. If it feels too tender, just use less pressure. Again, no point in killing yourself, hurting yourself, overdoing it in any way, shape, or form. But again, if you're used to doing gua sha on the face, you'll notice this is so different, right? We would never do this to the face. So just a note, the body and the face technique are so different. And I see someone asking, like, would you use this? Like, these are my spots, but like, yes, if you are having like more like wrist issues, hand issues, you can absolutely do this over the hands. I actually love to use this edge right here in between the fingers. There are these like ligaments or the bones in the hands, and stimulating these points is actually really good for back pain. So I'm going in between the bones of the hands. Feels amazing. You can do that too. I would do this with my hand rested, but using this, I'm going right down the center of the arm. Kind of get strong pressure in those flexors of the arm. I guess these are the extenders. These are the flexors. So it's like flexion, extension. Which muscles do that? These are the flexors. So carpal tunnel people who are working on the computer a lot, looking at you for this. This really could change your life. Working over this muscle right here is an incredible place to work with your gua sha tool. Other side is jealous. So I'm going to go into talking about gua sha on your breasts next. And I think it's just such an incredible tool to be able to use, especially if you're breastfeeding as well. I have a lot of patients who have used this technique for mastitis. So again, that's not something we're like marketing on our Instagram. However, just know it's great for that. So first things first, I'm talking about the pectorals. So this isn't like quite the breasts, but these are muscles that keep our hearts open, okay? So I'm just gonna spritz a little of the seaweed activator, seaweed mist, and then the rose pepper toning oil. So these muscles on my body are so incredibly tight. And I think that they don't get worked on enough by massage therapists or by ourselves. But they, again, they cause us to hunch, and everything in our life these days is all about like the phone, the computer, driving. We're a very hunched forward culture. So I just want to take a sec to advocate for our open hearts. I'm using the wavy edge, which is like just what I defer to because I love the way it feels so much. But if you really love the way like the comb edge feels, it's also awesome right here. And someone's asking, do you go smooth to do lymphatic drainage first and then go in harder? I'm not doing lymphatic drainage here. I'm going to do that more on the breasts. But you don't have to do the lymphatic drainage technique every time that you're doing this. So you can choose. If your goal is to depuff the skin or stimulate the lymphatic system, like use gentle strokes. You're also only going to use gentle strokes over the breasts. So I'm working on the pectorals, and then we're going to work down to the breasts, and that's where we're going to do lymphatic stuff. But you don't have to do gua sha in that order where you're just doing lymphatic strokes and then the more deep for deep pressure strokes. You don't have to do them in that order every time. So should say that Chinese medicine practitioners generally aren't going to be like, oh, let's do lymphatic drainage gua sha on you. It's not really as much of a thing. I can share that with you because I've also been trained in some of these massage therapy techniques. Do you see that redness? Oh my gosh, like my poor pecs are so tight. You guys. The smaller side, the smaller U edge is good on the arms and the lower legs. I see that question coming through because it's made to hug the limbs. I switched to the comb edge and I'm really into it. Like, look at what is happening here. This is like major. These are also some lung points over here. So this is like a really good example of sha, right? This is the sha and gua sha. These marks will probably be here for a few days. It's going to be really good if I drink water after. But my gosh, the stagnation that is happening over my heart center, people, oh, my whole shoulder feels so much better. But you know, there's a payoff. I'm going to have some marks on my chest. Do I care? No, not at all. Dedicated my life to it. So there would be less redness or none at all if I wasn't so tight and stagnant. Exactly. You're not going to have marks if it's not an area where you desperately need energy to move. So that's a great question. So in my office, I'll do cupping on some people and there will be no marks. And I'll do cupping on other people and it'll be like purple. So what's the difference? One of those people really needed cupping and one of them not so much. Whew, that feels so good. So again, this is above the breast. And then I'm going to go in, think about taking a moment, oiling your breasts. Also, you know, doing a check for any lumps or bumps. And then you're going to basically use your tool. You can't see when I put it over my bra because it's also black, but you're going to work with gentle pressure outward from the nipple, very gently in every direction. And then I believe like for mastitis or when you have like a clogged duct, you actually want to work towards the nipple, but that only applies to our breastfeeding mamas out there. So the practice of actually just, you know, using these products on your breast, checking your breasts and doing the gentle lymphatic drainage is like a great habit to be in weekly, monthly. Okay, so let's talk about how to tighten and tone the abdomen. We'll get into it here. So hopefully you can see me. I prefer to stay sitting down because I'm lazy and also maybe get some better angles in here. So I'm going to put the seaweed mist on first and then quickly follow it with the oil before it dries on the skin. Okay. So I'll see scar to like work around the C-section scar. I'm not gonna like get that naked today, but FYI. So there's a few different approaches to this. One is like this digestive approach where I'm gonna go down on the left, up on the right, and I'm gonna stimulate digestion. In order to do that, I want to make my abdomen as relaxed as possible. This is kind of like a digestive stimulating practice. And you can even dig into the abdomen with this side. I really relax my abdomen. So this would be like more for digestion, right? Constipation, just keeping it all flowing. Wow, look at that on my chest. I really went for it. So you could see the abdomen also is getting a little red, all totally normal. But so that's kind of like the digestive clockwise motion. That's why we go clockwise with the dry brush too. Now I'm going to break that up. If I really want to work on tightening and toning the abdomen and working on cellulite, I'll use 2 hands on the Aura tool and work up over the entire abdomen. So this is breaking up fascia. This is stimulating flow. This is kind of activating the whole area. So I'm just kind of doing this in real time. I did a lot of this postpartum, not in the first 3 or 4 months. Obviously, I had a C-section, but after I felt like I was fully healed, I loved doing this to tighten and tone the skin, working on the sides of the body. My chair is a little squeaky, so if you're hearing anything, apologies. But you see how my stomach is getting kind of pink? You can almost see like the lines. And then I also love to work from different angles. So I'll go across this way. Again, just kind of like working on the fascia from these different approaches in order to stimulate flow, but also to tighten everything up. So if we can awaken these tissues, break up the fascia, smooth the fascia, our skin's just going to look better. It's a nice little arm workout too. Let me go with the other side. So I really don't experience bruising on my abdomen, but I do get kind of pink for a while. This is all the blood flow into this area. Feels good. Like the abdomen does not get enough TLC. So I'm just showing you like how long I would do this if I was by myself. Basically getting the sneak peek. Feel free to ask any questions while I'm working on it. And then I'm going to go back in with upward strokes, focusing especially on the sides of the body here. And I know that I showed the lymphatic drainage technique, but you can do this on the abdomen too. You would just be going pretty much really slow, really flat with the tool. Actually go down towards the inguinal lymph nodes here. I'm using the wavy edge of the tool because of the way it grips onto the skin. This is the best for breaking up fascia. So if my intention is to minimize the appearance of cellulite, I'm always going to opt for the wavy edge because the smooth edge grabs onto the skin in this like very fixed pattern, right? It's not grabbing the skin at all. It's just kind of massaging into the skin. The wavy edge grips onto the skin in this irregular pattern, which kind of agitates the tissue and pulls it away from any fascia that might be stuck. which is a little bit like nuanced, but if that doesn't make sense, just trust me on it. If you want to smooth the skin and minimize cellulite, the wavy edge is the one for you. That's what makes this patented tool so special. Don't forget, 15% off everything Aura, the exception of the sweeper with the code Spring Body. The Aura activator and oil, they really don't expire. They're like so shelf stable. Okay, so that's about how long I would work on the abdomen. You can see it's like nice and pink, but very awake. I feel great in my abdomen. It's like this whole area is now alive. That pinkness will probably last another 15 minutes and then it'll go away and then my skin will actually look really alive and awake. Okay, so one of our biggest areas that we all want to work on, and this is kind of where we're going to close out the class, is the thighs. So let me try to find the best angle here. It's not always like the most, this again, it's like I do this for you guys, not the most fun for me, but hey. So I'm going to start by just spraying the activator. Quickly following it with the oil. Okay. So again, I'm opting for the wavy edge of the tool. And I'm just going to start working. My spot is definitely like my IT band. So I'm going to do about 20 or 30 passes here. And it works best for me to go from the knee upwards. And the places that are most stuck are the places that are going to get red or pink. And this is a very straightforward technique. Body gua sha does not really work on veins. Don't work over varicose veins. I don't recommend using it over spider veins. It's just not great for the veins as much as it's for the skin texture. All right, so that's about how it would work on the leg. And this is like, start doing this now, take a before picture, you'll love the results. So that's like one leg. So that's basically how you would work on some of the more prominent parts of the body. Obviously, I really got into it on the chest here. Love it. It's going to feel so good. Really needed that. You can work on the neck, anywhere that you need like muscle release, but it really is just that straightforward, especially on the thighs and the abdomen. Just use the wavy edge for like 5 minutes. Go over the area thoroughly. Make sure that you're using these products because they're so beneficial. They feel so good. And that's pretty much our crash course today on smoothing cellulite and promoting lymphatic drainage and using the Aura collection. I hope that you guys like this, share this, we'll post this recording. And I hope that this helps. It should be like an easy thing to do. Just pick one part of the body every day, give it a little TLC and love. And I just feel so activated in all the areas that I worked on. So you really get this like full body benefit. It's not just about looking better. It's about that you immediately feel better. So thank you, everyone. And I hope that you have an awesome day. Thanks for taking the time. And hit us in the DMs if you have any questions. and sending all my love. Have a great weekend.